Welcome back to the Buck Junkies podcast, where we are hanging out talking about all things deer hunting. I'm your host, Malcolm Reed. I'm joined by my other co-host today. I got Mr. Mark, Mr. Mikey, Mr. Jamie, Tyler on the boards. Fellas, how y'all doing?
Man, we're making it.
All right. Well, before we get started, unofficially, we're sponsored by Dude Wipes. Don't get caught in the woods without them. If you've ever been out there without a shower, fella, get you a pack of Dude Wipes. Not because they pay us, because you really need them. What else we sponsored by, Mark, unofficially?
Shoot, unofficially, the Dude Wiper 1000. So you got to talking about the Dude Wipes. I ordered me some up. Man, I love them. They had the package deal. You get the Dude Wiper 1000. That is the best money I've ever spent.
So wiper.
What
are we wiping?
Well, it's got
spraying.
Yeah, spraying.
What is the Dude Wiper 1000, Mark?
Man, I guess it's a toilet pressure washer.
It's a redneck bidet.
That's right.
It's an attachment. If everybody don't like attachments, you get one of these devices, you attach it and plumb it in to your existing toilet. It'll fit on all makes and models. It don't matter which one you have, and get prepared for the cleaning experience of your life.
Get your plumbing clean.
Get your plumbing clean. I like that, Jamie. It'll fix you up, and your wife will like it too.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a knob that says butt stuff and other stuff. So, I mean, you can go for it.
What did you say? It's guaranteed one MOA?
One MOA, just like a Tika.
Just like a Tika. Right out the box, it's one MOA.
Now, minute of angle or minute of ass, I don't know, but it's pretty freaking accurate. I'm going to go ahead and tell you.
You actually broke down and bought one of these things,
yes.
right? Okay.
No, I love it.
It's installed and everything. I saw a video of it.
So my thing is, all right, all humans are built different, right? How in the world does it know exactly where your spot-on bullseye is?
I don't know. I can't answer that question.
But
How does it know how long you need to spray?
You got the throttle.
Oh,
do
you
it
got the
yourself.
throttle.
Yeah.
You got the
It
gas.
ain't automatic. You don't think they got a webcam down there?
I didn't know if they had a motion sensor or what on it.
It's a drone-controlled deal.
You got a brown eye sensor.
That's right.
They got some dude halfway around the world.
Okay, he's
The light cuts on. He aims it, and it's go. And off to the Washington we go.
No, but all jokes aside, I highly recommend the Dude Wiper 1000. It is worth every penny.
Are you saying we need them at camp?
Yes,
All right.
most definitely.
I can get down with some wet wipes. I ain't gonna lie. Freshen up after you handle your business
thought
or
that was
whatever.
spray down, though.
But I don't know about a hose down.
You know,
That's awful French to me.
a lot of time that camp food leaves you with the old tar you can't get off. The Dude Wiper's got you.
you got elbow deep in that old deer chili.
You won't be in the stand that afternoon wondering what's itching. You're going to be clean.
You heard it here first, folks. Buck Junkies approved. The Dude Wiper 1000.
no itch guarantee.
The no itch guarantee.
Fat and pendant.
No itch, no stink, no muss. There's got to be a commercial there somewhere. We do need to get one of these things in here and bring it on camera because that's hilarious.
Are you demoing?
No,
We ain't doing live demos.
no live demos. I did see these two. I had to look it up. When you told me you got one, I think you got it off Amazon.
I did.
And I saw YouTube, Dude Wiper 1000. And there's these two dudes installing it on a toilet, and they're trying to get it calibrated. Man, they cut that thing on, and it squirts the back of the door across the bathroom. I was like, man, I don't know if I want something that strong.
You got to watch. You just don't go full throttle.
Heck no.
You got to feather it.
You might blow a gasket or something. You get some backwash.
Tear the seal up.
Tear the seal up.
What'd you say a while ago? The Dude Enema? If you turn it up too high?
Get it up too high, you probably get something there
I
you
ain't
don't
messing
want.
with that. Yeah. Well, I guess we need to talk deer.
Yeah.
We went enough on the Dude Wiper 1000. But no, so man, we up on rifle season. We just come through a strong youth weekend. We had how many young hunters did we have down there last weekend, Mikey?
Four, yeah.
Four?
Gage,
Four?
Will,
No, we had five. Michael Brady. And
Yeah,
Carter.
Michael.
Yeah, there's five. We had 5 shooters. 4 of them took deer. We were on a doe mission. We told them. So we've got down there where we're hunting. What do we got? About 170 acres, I think.
Yeah, pretty close to that.
It's a small farm, and that's what hunting's all about to us. It's a piece of property that we have that we're trying to manage, and we wanted to take some does off of it this year. So we told these kids, it's youth weekend. We of course, we want them to kill bucks and all that, but we want to teach them that you got to manage your herd. And so we turned them loose on does, and that's what we did.
I think my daddy might have got that memo
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he said, "Hey, he sent me a text 2 days ago. He took his 2 out." Mr. Fate was down there.
He done sent Mike another text. Say, how about another?
No,
He done got a different gun out. He wants to get one with another gun.
Really? Is that
Yeah.
what he's switching?
Oh, hammer gun.
He's on 3 already. 3 doe off there, I think.
He's got 4.
Has he got 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of them had.
Yeah, one of them
was a hit and no recover.
It happens.
It happens. Yeah, Michael had 2, so I had him down in the stand, and we had been sitting there, I guess, all morning. We didn't see anything but turkey, man. We were covered up with turkey. I think we counted 33 come through there that morning, and 2 of the other boys killed doe that morning.
Yeah.
Your son killed 1. Gage killed him 2. He only
Gage
killed
got
1. He
one.
shot
He
it
shot
at another
another.
one.
He missed one.
Yeah, he missed one. So they still got 1 more each to go. And then Mike. So that afternoon we took them back out, and I think they were. Will and Gage were probably just trying to take it easy, weren't they? They weren't too trigger happy that afternoon.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I got down there that afternoon, it was dark, so I was gone that day. So all the deer were laying on the floor some of them when I got down there.
Well,
Gage is always trigger happy.
Yeah, well, he watched a few that evening. He was texting me. I had them all. We had all group text going. But
I'd like to have been a part of that.
Me
group
and
text.
Michael were sitting in the stand, and we've got a few pictures of some young bucks on cameras that we got out and things. But we were really looking for does, so it was getting to be time. It was getting to be about 3:45, I think. We were sitting there. I told Michael, something's going to be coming out. It's getting to be that close to prime time. Yep. We still had about an hour for prime time, but sure enough, 3:45 outstepped a little doe, and then right behind it was the mama, and then another pretty good sized doe too. And so we watched them, and I said, Michael, we're going to let them feed out in front of us because they were, for him, I mean, it's probably 180 yards all the way across that field. They started coming toward us, getting out in the plot and eating. And then Michael saw back behind it, there comes a buck. And it was a pretty good size 7-point that we'd seen on camera.
I'm proud of him for passing that deer.
It was it'd been.
That's a hard deer to pass for a kid. I mean, for an adult, much less a kid.
It was a good deer. But, he's like, Daddy, I really want to kill a mature one. I don't want to kill that one. So we're going to take this big doe. And so he's getting lined up on it. Man, I swear that doe was using that yearling as a decoy. I mean, it was a deer shield because it would stay lined up right behind it. And I could see him. I wish I'd have had the camera on him. But they fed around. They got to within probably about 100 yards of us, and the little yearling got out of the way, and he made a good shot. He made a shot on it. He hit it a little back. But it ran maybe 30 yards just right off the edge of the food plot, and just fell down. It was over. And then the buck and the other doe ran back off, and then the little one just kind of hung around for a while. It didn't know the mom was gone, but it fed right down in front of us, and then we could see the old plot behind us. It's probably, I don't know, what do y'all think that is, 300 yards over there?
Probably close to 250.
Yeah, and you could see through the trees another green field, and there was some pretty good-sized doe out in it. I could see with my binoculars, and so that little one watching them, and it finally went on with them, and then so we kept sitting there. Sure enough, about 30 minutes later, way down the field, man, here come the does. It's like somebody opened the gate and rung the dinner bell. They hit that tree line, and one by one, I think we counted 13. They come right to us, and there was no wind. That was a perfect thing. So they come walking right up to us, and these deer got within probably 30, 35 yards, and we picked out a grandma doe in this one, man. She was gray and was watching everything, trying to see if we was in the stand, and I was telling Michael to be still, and when they looked down, he finally eased his gun up. He's going to get his second one out of the way, and he made a good shot on her, I thought, and he hit her back, too. We got to get him. This old gut shotting. We got to get these kids.
All it takes is one dressing.
We need to take some shooting lessons.
But that one,
rifles.
That one, he knocked a chunk out of it in the food plot, and it ran off and got back to the ditch. And I was like, man, we're going to track this one. I knew where it went in the ditch. And so we sat there till right at dark. It's probably another 30 minutes. And I said, let's get on down and go make sure we got some blood. We found a pretty good spatch of blood in the food plot. I could see some hair, chunks. So he's shooting one of them 6.5 Needmores.
Yeah. Need more. You got it right.
When he shoot them where he shot them, you definitely need some more. But I knew right where it went in the woods, so we got to looking across the field there, and, man, there wasn't a drop of blood. So we got over to the fence, and it's probably, I don't know, what do you think it is, 10 yards at the most where it's briars, and then before you get to the fence, there's the ditch. And we eased up in there, and she was laying down the ditch when she got up. I was like, man, we just pushed this deer. She stumbled around, got up the ditch bank, hit the other side, and I was like, we got to back out. We done jumped her once. And so we come back to camp. By that time, you was there, Mikey, and
Yeah.
We went and looked, and man, we couldn't find a drop of blood that night. Mikey went across. I don't know how you got down that ditch.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good example. If you shoot one bad, I mean, you try not to jump it. If you know you hit it, you need to look, make sure you hit it, look for blood like y'all did. But you need to back out and let that thing go because it will lay down somewhere pretty close. And if you don't find blood, you hit it. You kind of run a grid. If you can't find blood, you start just where the last time you seen it at. You walk a couple 100 yards down and just start zigzagging through the woods. Just do your best to find it. And that's what we did.
Yeah, that's what we did. And we just couldn't find it. I mean, we still went back and we cleaned 5 that day. So that was a good opening youth weekend.
What stood out to me is when I talked to you that night, because I wasn't down there that evening. You told me, man, Michael, he's so upset. And
yeah.
I was like, yeah. I said, but you got to look at that as a good thing. Like, there's adults out there that'll do that, and not even worry about it, And to me, that's not hunting. That's not hunting for the right reason. And with Michael getting upset, knowing that he done wrong to that deer, that means a lot. That means he's matured in that point. He knows that that's a life you're sacrificing. That stands out to me.
We just got to get him on that bench shooting.
Man, I've been there. When you're a kid and them deer out there in the field, you get shook up. You just catch them swinging. That's what my uncle always told me. Just catch them swinging.
That's for sure. That's for sure. But that night, we had a good night. It was late when we got back. Well, we eat dinner and went to bed pretty much, didn't we?
Yeah, pretty much we did. They had that one old stinking gut shot deer was still laying in the floor. I knew I was in trouble when I got back. Everybody was gone. I was like, I guess this one's mine to clean. It was pretty nasty.
So all right, when I was a kid, youth weekend was always, to me, the opening weekend. For me as a kid, I always look forward to the opening weekend, but being a kid and being able to get out there a weekend early, which I guess they used to not have it to where it was.
We didn't have youth weekend.
See, I was going to ask you, I didn't hunt.
I got one weekend. That was it. And it wasn't during the week. You had that Saturday and Sunday the week before opening weekend, and that was it.
So what did y'all rolled out a bow season and then rolled the primitive weapon?
I never remember having.
No, it wasn't a youth season until, I was in
my 20s or 30s.
Yeah, I was in my 20s because your daddy was taking you, Mark, and then I took you a few times. I mean, that was the first I'd ever heard it where they had a youth season, but they didn't have it when we were younger. Yeah,
so to me, opening weekend's always opening rifle season in Mississippi. That's been mine since I started hunting. When I was 18. Opening weekend was rifle season. I didn't bow hunt at the time. I guess y'all probably hunted primitive. The primitive opened before?
That hadn't been but
season?
The last few years.
So it didn't roll out, so you didn't get that early hunt.
Right.
Yeah,
I like the early hunting with the kids because you get to see what's out there and you get you out there earlier.
A lot of times, I mean, that week or two before opening rifle season, there's always a cool snap that comes through this area. And you always see a lot of deer, and you wish you was out there, and then opening season comes or opening day comes, it's like 70 degrees.
Yeah. You're going to sweat over the weekend.
That was perfect weather. I mean, we got one more weekend to go, and it's supposed to be pretty nice. I mean, we're supposed to get some 50s for highs that weekend. I think we're going to get a little wind, though. That's all I've been watching. If it's right, we still got a little while to worry about that.
Hopefully not. Hopefully we'll have some good weather. I mean, that's one thing is, we always talk about why we look forward to opening weekend. What makes that weekend so special? And, I guess now on this side of things, as I'm growing up, I guess, you look forward to it because you put a lot of work in throughout the year to get there, And
that's right.
I didn't realize as a kid, I didn't realize how good we had it made. We pretty much could walk out our front door and hunt wherever we wanted to, and it's not like that now. Now, we're working land. Mikey's been down there a bunch. Jamie planting food plots, spraying. It's a ton of work goes in just for this weekend.
Yeah, it kicks it off to me. I'm ready to close everything down and hunt.
That's right.
That's it.
Me too.
I'm ready. I don't want to make any more barbecue videos. I don't want to think about it. All I want to do is go hunting. But so. Opening weekend for y'all, when did you start going to camp? When you actually had a deer camp?
We would go a couple of weekends before, make sure everything was up to par. Back then, I mean, I still remember going to scout, going to look. I think that's a forgotten thing nowadays. You don't ever hear about people going out in October and like, hey, I'm check these trails. We all rely on our phones and game cameras, and Jamie made that point a while ago. Is we've got away from what it was 20 years ago when we were setting up ladder stands and stuff like that. Now we put out trail cameras. Yep, they're there.
Yeah.
Put a box stand in there. Get the heater turned on. And
Yeah, you depend on too much on the new and
Technology.
new technology.
Technology spoiled us.
The new camouflage, the new deer scent, everything.
Yeah.
You're not really hunting. Or
And
not-
there's still
you're not
people out
really-
there that do. Don't get me wrong.
Right,
But
yeah.
I mean, we fell victim to it. I like getting up in the morning. That's usually my routine every morning. I get up, roll over in bed, check the trail cameras, get my coffee. So I mean,
There's something to be said about the cellular trail cams. I mean, if you got a place where you got signal, you don't have to stink up that area.
Yeah.
Like you ain't going in there checking cards. You can kind of get a pattern on the deer. That's what I like to use them for. But a lot of people, I think they probably use bow season as the scouting season now. But it's so different. During bow season, you start getting, you still got persimmons on trees. You still got the muscadines on the vines, and
Natural
you got
fruit everywhere.
The acorns starting to drop, and that's what I've noticed this year, being out there more than we have. That we found muscadine vines, we found way more wild persimmon trees that we didn't know we have that we've marked now, and we moved cameras on it, so we were able to see those deer move from one food source to the other. Because we still had, this was the first year, Jamie, we didn't do summer food plots before on this property, did we? No. So this year we actually did. We planted a little dove field, but we also planted some other stuff for them, and we maintain our clover that we've been putting in the ground. So we had that food source, and that helped hold way more deer on just the small acreage that we have. And I think that's what's helped us in seeing deer. Now, the more we get on them, like after that big youth weekend, they're going to start switching to nighttime.
yeah.
And we've seen it on cameras already, but you're following the food source now. Now the persimmons are gone. All the muscadines were gone before the persimmons. The acorns are dropping. So me and Mikey found a tree. Well, that was one thing about moving those cameras around. We found that we had a camera. What was it? 50 yards from
50
where this acorn
yards.
was
Yeah, it
dropping.
was two persimmon trees in that food plot right on the edge of it that we'd had that camera on for, I don't know, probably almost a month, I guess.
Yeah.
And we were getting a lot of good pictures, and then they just it slowed down. And, and then we picked it up and went down the end of the field, just walking the field looking, and you found that acorn tree dropping at the far end. We put it down there, and it's back on the same deer we had.
Was just they're 50
they were
yards
just
down.
50, 60
And you
yards
never
down the
saw
field,
them.
and
Yeah.
never seen them on that camera up there.
And since it's been like dinner time since we moved them on there.
Yeah.
I was down there walking around. Look, I always see, just from having this property for the past few years, there was always scrape trails through there. So I was walking, looking for scrapes, looking for rubs, see if there was any sign yet. And I just noticed the ground was all tore up, and I felt, heard a few things dropping, looked up, and this tree was dropping. It was just old red oak. It wasn't nothing special, but it was dropping acorns like they were going out of style. And them deer have been in there every day on them. I mean, we saw 2 bucks that night on camera. They weren't big bucks, but the bucks were already on them. It's close to a water source, so that's kind of changed the way I was hunting, starting to watch those natural food sources, because you can have plots, and you're going to see deer in plots, but them old bucks, they're going to stay on the natural sources where they got plenty of cover.
Yeah, acorns start falling. The same way with persimmons. Persimmons start hitting, and the acorns start hitting. They're going to stay on those. They'll still get in the food plots and graze a little bit, but they're not. That's not their main food source at that time. They're going to be hitting those other things, and just trying to keep up with those things and being mobile. If you were bow hunting or deer hunting, being able to move around to those food sources, know where they're at, learn your property, and next year we don't have to go in there near as much.
Just because we know where they're going to be.
Yeah, we know where to go put the camera at next year on this persimmon tree or this oak tree, and we can stay on top of them that way.
So I mean, I guess one thing we always forget about, and you don't really think, hunting season's over, kind of, walk away from everything. You're done for the year,
Yeah.
but that hadn't been the case this year. I mean,
No.
heck, we started planting 2 weeks after it,
I think that's a big part of it is getting out there throughout the year and maintaining habitat. I mean, so the best thing you can do for your land to have deer on it, to see more deer, and to keep deer on it is take care of the land first.
365,
Yeah,
not
365,
not just that fall plot.
Yeah, not just go in Labor Day, break some ground up, throw some seed in the ground, fertilize it, and then hope you're going to have, green fields. There ain't nothing wrong with that. If you want to hunt that way, that's fine. But if you really want to manage that property, that year-round program, having something for them during those key months when they're dropping fawns and needing something to eat, and giving them bucks a reason to stick around there, that's what it's all about.
Just seeing deer on your place from this year to 17 when you first got it.
Yeah.
I guarantee the numbers have tripled on what
Oh,
deer
yeah.
staying on it.
We counted, man, we got to over 50 this weekend, just different deer that moved through that place. And they're not all staying there, but they're coming there to eat because we got some food.
But you can better your property, like Mark was saying. It's a year-round thing. We talked about this earlier in the last podcast about planting trees. In January, February, that's when you want to get out there and you get those trees from your local soil conservation office, and you're able to go out there. Nothing's going on. It's kind of it's jacket weather. And you just walk out there, ground soft, so it's not hard to plant them. And you can kind of strategically put acorn trees where you want them at, or persimmon trees where you want them at. Where you got little blocks, or just one tree if that's what you want to do.
Oh yeah,
and I mean too, you got to think. All right, that plot right now we're on, or that plot of land. I mean, we're 170 acres. That's something that nobody around us, I know for a fact, is doing year-long plots. So we're offering that, and that's going to keep people's like, oh, you can't manage 150, 170 acres. No, you're not going to manage it. It's still, the deer are still wild game. They're still going to go and come as they please. But me personally, if I'm a deer and I got more food to eat here, I'm going to be more likely to be on that property.
Close to it anyway.
So, I mean, that helps you definitely especially if you got small acreage, work that land year round and keep that deer on your property.
A reason for it to be there.
Yeah.
I think that's more than anything. I mean, yeah, we're going to see more doe because it holds the doe, but the bucks got to come to them doe eventually, don't they?
That's right.
That's something, I mean, with us doing the spring plots, did they even make it to summer for these does?
No.
Probably not. I mean, well, it depends because they're going to be selective in what they eat. They're not just going to stay on the plot. That's why it's, to me, like if you plant one thing in them, they could wipe it out. But if you got a buffet for them and you're doing mixes, that's what we want to start incorporating into our stuff to where, when there's we do a real good job in the fall blend, putting, different grains, Nebraskas in there, putting some clover in there that's going to come up, and then having the clover that's going to come back in the spring. But when you go back in the spring, we tried to just plant beans. And that's fine if you got the acreage and you got the right deer numbers. But if anything's off and you got way more deer,
the beans
they won't make it. And then all you're going to do is fight weeds. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a mix in. And it's going to have probably some beans in it, but it's going to have some other stuff too to let the beans get up. And we'll start managing it that way where they got an option. There might be some corn out there. There might be some beans. There might be, some more clover or something like that for them to go. We got a game plan for the summer plan next. We're already thinking about summer plots for next year.
You got to.
Yeah, I think I enjoy that part of it as much as I do shooting a big buck. I love, there's nothing better than killing, a big nice buck or being out there hunting, just being out there. But taking care of, planting those plots and planting all that stuff, that's fun to me.
Well, you see it. You see the benefit and you see what's going on. I mean, just like we planted all them beans and everything like that, and we really didn't know. I mean, we knew what we were doing as far as planting, but we didn't know the outcome.
We ain't farmers.
We ain't farmers by no means.
No, we're going by what kind of information we're reading and co-op, what Charles at the co-op.
I mean, to put this in perspective is like literally we was down there on a Friday, pulled up on the cow peas. They were beautiful. I mean, waist high,
yeah,
beautiful peas. Come back on Sunday and it looked like you run a bush off through them. And I was like, something ain't right. Well, yeah, it wasn't right. The numbers wasn't right.
What could eat that many cow peas that fast?
Pretty much, you put does on it, they got it. And I mean,
but they're fat though. That gut shot doe we cleaned, Mikey. How much fat did it have? I mean, just visceral fat.
It was fat.
That was probably the biggest doe that's come off.
Well, if you notice too on these younger bucks we've seen this year, they're starting to get the old belly sway.
Yeah,
and they're young, like they shouldn't be having it. That's one of the things everybody says. If their belly's drooping, that's an old deer. Not necessarily. I mean, we got 2-year-old deer that's done ate at Capitol Grill every weekend for the last year. They've been eating good.
They are eating good. We need to put a scale on them, start getting average weight when we kill them.
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt.
See what they are.
Be good information for the biologists anyway.
Yeah. And that was another thing. We probably talked about that last time, but most of your states have some type of local, state biologist that'll work with you on land stewardship. Pretty much come out and give you an idea what you need to do. They come out and told us that it's evident.
Kill some does.
Y'all got way too many deer eating up all the briars.
That's what he said when we got in the thing. Got in the side by side. I told him, I said, "Look, we got a lot of does down here," and I kind of told him what we had planned on doing. Me and you'd already talked, or all of us had already talked about it. And we started riding him around, and he was like, "Man, you told me you had a lot of does. I know it was this bad." He said, "This is really bad." He said,
but like you said, we would have never known that if it wasn't for the summer plots.
Yeah,
We'd have just went about our business not knowing what was going on.
that's right.
So have y'all, when y'all hunting, have y'all ever tried to manage for does and taking does? Was it always a consideration? Because I mean, a lot of times, if you're hunting government land per se, or you just got a lease land or something, are you thinking about the doe population?
Never have. I had.
Well,
Yeah, most people they're hunting, they're meat
Yeah.
hunting.
most time if I shot a buck, I tried to shoot a doe that day. You're allowed to do that. So if I shot a buck, I was gonna get one out. I was gonna go ahead and take a doe with me. But the only other time I would even attempt just to kill a doe would be muzzleloader season or something like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, not really.
I think it's important. I think you got to get those mouse off there, and you got to keep that number down. Because to me, that doe is eating way more groceries than that buck you want to grow is. Because you got to think that buck shuts down. I mean, they got to eat, but when they start thinking about does,
Yeah.
food
ain't worried
is not
about eating.
priority to
Yeah.
them.
He just staying alive, give you enough strength to run.
And if you don't have those doe numbers right, they're going to eat up all that winter food source for when that buck comes, when the rut's over and it's January or February and he's wore out. Y'all seen them. I know y'all seen them wore out. They run themselves ragged. If they ain't got anything to eat, that's going to be harder on them next year, and it's going to make that rack go down.
I read an article, and I actually think it was in Mossy Oak, in their that magazine that you give me, talking about that. If your does, the bucks are going to fatten up, thicken up, and eat all the whatever you got out there, acorns, persimmons, food plots, stuff like that. He's going to bulk himself up, but after that, he don't eat a whole lot. So he uses most of his energy chasing does. He's worried about breeding. And after it's over with, there's nothing there for him to eat. He's got a good chance he might die.
Yeah,
Because he don't have the nutrients there, and he don't have anything that he can eat on.
replace all that energy he spent.
Yeah. I mean,
Once he knocks out a couple of hookups, he ain't worried about his body no more.
Yeah.
No.
They ain't. That's where you see them. I mean,
He gets the sweatpants on and just kind of couch potato at that
little
point.
neck, the swelling goes away in that neck. He ain't nothing but bones, huh?
I know we got discouraged this year. I mean, me and Mikey, all of us did. We pull up and see a plot just wiped out. Well, crap, we're sitting there picking our brains. What the heck did we do wrong? And we at the point of that game, I was like, we screwed up. We had failed. You can't call that a failure.
No, it wasn't a failure. I mean, the beans was probably the worst thing. And us expecting a big, pretty, lush bean field like you see on the side of the road. Some farmers done farmed, several hundred acres, and we planted roughly 8 to 10 acres maybe. But once the beans came up, they did come up.
It looked good.
They look good for about a week.
Yeah, and then they started nipping the tops at them. Well, they just never could. They never could make it.
They wouldn't let them.
Well, what happened there was that gave the grass, the weeds, that
Yeah.
were
A head start.
time to go. And they didn't mess with them. So you had your Johnson grass coming in. You had that old goat weed coming in. And then even though the beans would probably put back on some, for some of that browse, once those weeds get over them, they're choking out. They're pulling the nutrients out of the ground. They're doing all that. And you can't spray enough on them
And two,
to choke them back.
where we planted that at was pasture. That land has never been worked. It has all the native grass and weeds. They were king.
Yeah.
They've never been bush hogged other than for hay.
Hayfield.
So
We got a plan for it now. Hopefully,
we'll see.
we can get some up. We're gonna try to instead of cutting it and spraying it and using all the chemicals and everything, we're gonna try to knock it down and plan into that and get the summer plot up, and then
Yeah, we got a whole nother system we're going to do this year just to try to maintain what we have and get something up out of the ground where we can just keep rotating crops in that thing without using a lot of synthetic.
it just takes a little bit more different equipment than what we had, because we started out. Everybody, you got to have bush hog, and you got to have something to break the ground. You
Disc,
gotta have,
tiller,
you gotta have
something.
Yeah, something to throw the seeds with, and then you got to have something covered up, and you got to have something to spray it with. So you got a lot of pieces of equipment. Well, we're going back to a no-till situation where we shouldn't have to, worry about breaking the ground, making all them passes on it, packing it down. But then also we're going to, drill into it, and then we hopefully won't have to spray it. All we got to do is crimp it, which is roll it basically.
Well, too, we come from the mindset of only planting fall plots.
Yeah. That's all we ever did. Even when I had a place rented over in Lafayette County, all we did was go in there Labor Day and cut us out our food plots that we want to plant. They're basically kill plots. You might have had some that you didn't put stands on that were, feeding plots, but the majority of them was just shooting plots. There's a lot of people
something
hunting.
green.
Something green to catch them.
But I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's if you ain't got equipment or you don't
Yeah,
have
or the
property,
time, or the time.
you know,
Yeah,
you may not own your piece of property. It may be a piece
you don't
of
know you'll
government
have it
property
year to
or
year.
whatever.
Yeah.
Or something you got permission on. If you don't want to spend all that time and effort in it, what we're doing may not be the suitable for you.
Yeah, and I that's what interests me in it though is what you can do with a small piece of property to see if it's going to improve the soil and do better. Because a lot of Mississippi land, I mean, there ain't just a whole lot of open land now. I mean, most of the time it's owned by somebody. If it's not individual, it's paper company or these other big people, and they lease out some paper land. A lot of people have paper land rented, but they won't let you break that. I don't think with it, Jamie. Like
That's what we had outside of Holly Springs growing up, like 110 acres. Something we leased to a timber company, but we didn't ever do nothing but just go hunt.
You could on like the landing, where, the loading zones and all that stuff. You could probably break some of that up, but they don't let you just go in there and make food plots. So
That was the thing. Heck, when I was a kid, when we still hunted down outside of Abbeville, that was all government land. Heck, I think it was you and Thomas and Jamie. I don't know who all decided they was going to plant a food plot on government
We
land.
planted food plots.
We didn't know.
We didn't ask permission. We just went and done it.
Well, I mean, that was like we were in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we at the time thought we were some of the only ones hunting it. Man, open the morning, it looked like an airstrip with flashlights
Somebody done
walking
found
into
it,
that
yeah.
food plot.
man, it's a green field.
Man, somebody done planted turnips over here.
Did we take it? We took a tiller back there, I think.
No,
we
we
walked a tiller back all the way
we had
back.
Granddaddy's old disc.
We pulled behind the foiler and made about
That's right.
1,000 laps.
That's right.
Oh, we had it looking good.
I bet it did, but there ain't no telling who was on it with you, was
One person walked through there and everybody knew about it.
it? Yeah.
But I mean, the government land we were hunting, there wasn't that many people. It was opening weekend, and we were blessed with that back then. That cabin that y'all's daddy had, Mr. Fate, having that cabin over there, and I mean, it was actually decent deer hunting over there. It was government land, but it was decent. And then everybody was there opening weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, and then they were gone. So we had the run of the property for the rest of the year.
You're talking about thousands of acres just at your back porch.
So that was that opening day to y'all, like
Yeah.
going to the cabin.
Going to the well, no, when I was a kid, it was going to the old bread truck with no insulation.
There was no cabin there.
No cabin.
Yeah.
And then we built a cabin, and heck, that was like cream of the crop there. Like we didn't have a bathroom there, and I remember when we finally added a bathroom and a shower. It was like, holy smokes, we
Y'all
got
was
the
uptown.
Hilton now.
He was uptown.
Yeah.
Got indoor plumbing. Or
Indoor
outdoor?
plumbing.
The outhouse was about 20 or 30 yards behind the camp. Man, if you woke up in the middle of the night and had to go to the bathroom, oh, Lord have mercy.
You didn't sit out there and read a magazine.
There
No,
was
you
no
had-
dude wipe for 1,000 out there.
You had to put
It was a
your
coon
boots
wiper.
on.
We didn't have electricity or nothing then.
No, I remember then, like, everybody would hold it. You darn near crap yourself before you went out there. Just somebody go warm the seat up so you didn't have to be the one to warm it up.
So what was camp like to y'all back then? I mean, that was fun, wasn't it?
There was, like, I know I always talk about it, growing up, hunting was different. To me, like, my best memories was being in school on Friday, just waiting for that bell to ring to go out there and Daddy come pick me up from school. And we get an old Toyota, listen to Travis Tritt all the way down to deer camp, count how many dead deer's on the side of the road, and finally show up, And,
Man, number 7, wear them out.
yeah. Well, then we was going, to show you how it was, like, I guess Uncle Jimmy and Daddy didn't believe in going highway. So we took back roads. We cut through Independence, Laws Hill, do all that.
Man, yeah,
It'd take-
how long did it take to get there? 3 hours.
It felt like it.
There was another reason for that, too.
Yeah, there was other reasons, but no, that was my like favorite part. Of course, I know I was gonna freeze my butt off. I mean, growing up, you was not gonna get no fancy camouflage or warm clothes because you was gonna outgrow them next year. So
Yeah. Hand-me-downs?
yeah, hand me downs.
Did you get Jamie's hand-me-downs?
No, we all had back then it was Dover elevator camouflage jackets. Everybody had Dover elevator jackets.
I still got mine.
Really?
Hey, that was a good jacket.
Was it like Carhartt or something? Or just like a
Oh, well, it was good.
uniform jacket?
Good.
Like
No, it was good. It was good
Yeah,
camouflage
yeah.
stuff.
I don't know what you'd call it, but
Yeah.
and then of course, you get down there and there was all of us, and then there was the older people that had been in that camp for years, and it was their sons and nephews and stuff. And I mean, heck, there was weekends, it was 20, 25 folks down there. And it was a good time. Uncle Jimmy would always bring a 50-pound bag of peanuts, and you sit around out there by the fire and eat peanuts. And of course, that's all I was old enough to do then was eat peanuts. So
didn't
I ate
know.
peanuts and drink Mountain Dew,
There might have been some brown water around there somewhere.
Hey, I'm sure it was. But it was different, That was something that I wish I could, like right now, like me and Jamie talked about earlier, is like, opening weekend, I'm still excited about it, but not like I was when I was a kid. That's a feeling that I don't know if you just grow out of it. I don't know.
I think you remember that always. Like, that's I didn't never have that, but I remember going when I first got into hunting. I had some friends that were dog hunting down in Kosciuszko, and they had a camp down there. But a dog hunting camp's totally different than what you're talking about. It's everybody's got some type of trailer or something they're staying in. There might have been at the camp we were in. There's probably 30, and it was big. Like everybody cooked, and you went and ate different dinners at everybody's camper, and had a big fires and stuff like you're talking about. But dog hunting, I mean, that's what I learned to do. And so all it was they take you out, and everybody had 4-wheel drive trucks and CB radios. We ran those, and somebody'd run the packs of dogs, and they'd spread us out on. It might be power lines, it might be old roads they had leased or something. That's what I thought deer hunting was. I didn't know anything about still hunting. We'd slip around at evenings. You'd usually have a still hunting spot where they might be an old stand, or just they go put you out at a tree over a ridge or something like that. But the majority of the hunting was done in the mornings, and you might get 2 or 3 races going. And I've never killed a deer in front of dogs, but man, there's something about it when you hear them dogs coming your way and it starts making
dog
their
hunting.
yeah. I guess people frown on it now.
Nah.
But I thought that was deer hunting, so that's all I knew coming up. When I was in my 20s, and then when I got to hunting on my own, didn't have a place to go. I just hunted government land.
Well, I mean, if you had enough property, I don't like dog hunting from day one to day end, but now if we had enough property to run dogs on, if we hunted through to Christmas,
Come
think
January.
about what in January we turn the dogs loose.
Get exciting.
Oh yeah. That'd be a lot of fun.
So we had 3,000 acres. We was in a club at Water Valley, and that's what it was. It was all
It was a dog club?
Yep,
Yeah.
dog hunting.
Did you ever kill one in front of the dog?
Oh yeah, I killed a lot of deer in front of dogs.
Jamie got a pretty embarrassing story about me in front of the dogs.
Uh-oh. What's that one? I want to hear it. He
I'm
can't.
trying to remember.
One where I didn't shoot.
Heck, I don't remember.
So I'll tell you the backstory of this. I barely remember as a kid. I was in a car seat in Daddy's Toyota, and it was after Thanksgiving, Christmas, who knows. And back then, you could ride on people's turn roads back in the woods, and you might shoot one out of a truck, but you was off the public road. You was off the public road. Truck wasn't
Were
running.
you supposed to be riding them turn roads,
Yeah, we had.
or did you know so and so that?
No, we had permission.
Oh, okay.
But so I was probably 3 or 4 years old. I was young. I was still in the car seat or booster seat, and the deer was out the passenger window. And Daddy didn't give me a heads up, didn't do nothing. He laid that 308 right here in front of my face and kapoo.
Right out the window, out the mobile deer blind, huh?
Yeah.
Man, ever
Yeah,
since
that's a
then,
little
I
outlaw.
hated loud noises. Like I could not stand. Like it terrified me.
Imagine so.
So-
Trying to gun break you.
So anytime like we sighted rifles in or something like that, I always wear ear protection, which I still do.
Yeah.
But like I hated the noise, the boom, couldn't stand it. Well, we were down there running dogs, and I was young, and I think I had I might have had Mikey's lever action 35 then. It was either his or Buddy ours Denver's 30-30. And old Buck run out in a gravel road and stop broadside 40 yards. And I seen Jamie throw up on it. I was like, well, heck, he's finna shoot. I stuck my fingers in my ears.
Did you lay the gun down?
Yeah, I had it on my shoulder. I had my fingers in my ears, and Jamie's the whole time up, shoot, shoot, shoot.
Couldn't hear. Had
He
my fingers
couldn't
I had
in
my
my
fingers in my
ears.
I do remember that now.
Did you shoot it?
No,
no,
old deer
Got
kept on
away.
running.
He got away, huh? They don't stay out there long.
No. But I grew out of that. Once I was about 20, I quit doing that.
No, I couldn't tell you the last time I got to go dog hunting. It's been some years. And are there still some of those big clubs
yeah,
around?
clubs.
Water Valley's still up
Is
and
it
running.
still going?
They got several thousand acres.
I guess most of them rent timberland. That's what we
that's
had
what-
down.
that's
That's what they had down in Kosciuszko.
Well, that's different. Like, that's legit dog hunting. You're not pissing the world off. Now you got these guys that want to pitch them out there on the road, and they run across your property. That's what gave everybody a bad rap for
Well,
dog
they turn
hunting.
them out and they say they can't tell where that dog's going.
Yeah.
Well, you got these guys that if they got 20 acres permission on, they turn out on that 20. And
Yeah,
let
that
them
dog's
go.
off 20 in about 5 minutes.
Especially if they got them long-legged dogs.
Man, we used to run them dogs down in Tunica. We turn them out on something that we had permission on, and they're liable to run 5 miles down the ditch across 3 or 4 properties that wasn't ours.
Yeah,
But hunting down there is a lot different than hunting in them hills with dogs.
yeah. Well, I think you got a lot of people now that don't. They're big buck hunters,
Yeah.
and they're, trespass. They don't want people on their property. And I get it. I wouldn't want nobody running. If we're out there still hunting, I don't want people running dogs through where we're hunting.
I still enjoy walking thickets. Like,
Really get the drive going.
yeah, I mean, that's fun. Heck, that was usually a Christmas Day thing we all used to do. We'd leave mom and daddy's, start walking. And then again, wherever we walked, we was on property we could either hunt or own,
Yeah.
Good times.
We would do that if it was windy or something where the deer, they're going to be probably laid up. And we'd go throwing sticks or, shaking thickets or whatever. That's the only time I got to do that.
Throwing sticks.
You ain't never done that? You never
throw
walked
no
cut over and throw sticks? Shoot. Man, those bucks would come busting out of there. I swear they will.
Heck, you don't hit him with a stick. I got to get up
You're
too.
just trying to make some rackets. All you're doing. It scares them. They run like a rabbit. They'll circle back. It might be a big circle, but they're gonna come back.
What else you got, Mark?
Man, I want to make it clear. It's a lot of work that goes into opening a weekend, and that's one reason I get excited for it now as an adult is to see that payoff. It might not pay off for me, but it might pay off for Michael, Will, Abby. Who knows? It's going to pay off for the kids.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that now. I don't have a kid of my own, but watching these kids get out there and hunt and, respect the land, respect the deer, dude, if that don't get your blood pumping, you in the wrong business, That's good times.
That's for
I
sure.
think we're all at the age now. It's not that we don't enjoy it, but it's a whole lot more enjoyable to see a kid hunting or shooting a deer or just the laughs that go along with them hunting. But
That's probably one of my favorite parts about deer camping opening weekends, all the stories.
The food.
Sitting around and eating and all that part. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm going to get up and get in deer stand.
I mean,
Michael, but it's
you're a pretty good sized
camaraderie.
man, but you pretty much had me laughing harder than I've ever laughed at one year. It was last year, wasn't it?
with the ratchet
man.
buck.
Yeah.
It was,
Did we tell that story last time?
I don't
I
know.
don't think so.
Man.
I was in that same stand that I had Michael in opening day.
So
This
everybody.
was middle of the rut, though. We were, it
Yeah,
was just
yeah,
us three
they were
out
running.
there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were
Was everybody
chasing.
We're
else-
chasing because that's what
Yeah.
got you all off
Yeah.
aim,
So-
off aim,
I
I
was
think.
texting Michael.
We're going to spread the wealth on this one.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
So we're sitting there, and me and Malcolm is probably about 300 yards apart, 400 yards.
Yeah.
And
As crow flies.
Yeah.
It was over some hills and hollers.
we're texting back and forth, and it was, I don't know, a dozen doe out in front of me. An old 6-point come out, and boy, he was hot and heavy. And he was running, he was pushing, he was chasing all he could. Well, he run over the hill, and I text Malcolm, hey, he's coming towards you. A few minutes later, he texts me, oh, they're here. He said, man, he's grunting. I ain't never heard a buck grunt like that. I mean, he was. That deer, they was putting a show on.
Yeah.
And he said, they're coming back to you. So they come back to me, and 10 minutes later, all right, Malcolm, coming back to you. They run over the hill back to you, and I done forgot it was another buck got in the mix.
But this wasn't that same doe. This one.
No, the buck you shot was a completely different one.
Yeah, but they these deer, like the ones we had, were still on our property. They was running circles over the hills. Well, it'd probably been about 30 minutes, and then I saw something coming over the ditch. There was a bunch of growed up osage grass coming off some old hay fields. Doe come through there, tongue hanging out her mouth. Man, she was running fast as she could go. And all of a sudden, there was another buck. He's a decent little 8-point. He jumped the fence. I mean, he probably took three big steps. He was across the food plot right up by my stand. But the doe went right up the hill beside me. Then next thing you know, I look coming across the ditch through that grass. Here come another buck. And he was just a little one, little basket rack buck. And he was right on their trail. And it's like, dang, man, they are running this doe. Going, and I texted you.
Yeah.
Got one coming hard
Coming
right
to
back
you.
at you, coming right to you. And next thing I know, all I saw was horns coming through that grass. I said, all right, I got this dude. So I laid my gun up there. I had it right. I knew where he was going to come across because all three deer done jumped the ditch and hit the same spot. Well, this old buck jumped, and he was a 10-point. I mean, he's a nice buck. He took one step on the ground, hit one more leap, and I had it on him. He was coming right at me, and I just let the hammer drop right in his white spot on his chest.
All right, stop right there.
Yeah.
Don't go no further.
All right.
So I'm sitting there in the stand. Bucks running. They come back over the hill. I see the little bucks. And I told Malcolm, I said, it's another buck in there. He ain't a shooter. He's bigger than the rest, but he ain't a shooter. Well, as soon as I sent that text, ooh, I was like, old buck done grunted at him. Malcolm worked over. He done shot that little one. Well, Malcolm texts me. I got him. Good buck. Good buck down. I said, all right, good. And a few minutes later, you know how you get the iPhone, you see the little bubble, like they're typing something, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. I was like, what is he typing? And all I read was, I think I shot him in the face. And I was,
Soon as that deer took that next step and I pulled the trigger, he dropped his head like to the ground. I mean, this is a split second. And you could not have, if he'd have been standing still,
You wouldn't
at
have shot him
5
that good.
yards, there's no way you could have shot him in between the
centered it up, no
eyes.
better.
Like I couldn't have put the gun to his forehead and hit him any dead center.
so at this point, I read this text. This is no longer, we're not texting. I picked the phone up. I said, dude, what? I call him.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You have to come down here. I don't think I can go look at him. You got to come down here and get me. I said, all right. So I got my stuff, and I think there was a couple more does out there. I let them run off or whatever, and I get in side by side and pull up and pick Malcolm up from the stand, and I hadn't seen the deer yet. He's still in sage grass. We're easing across the field. Malcolm's like, he's right up here. And we ease up on him.
He was dead.
He was dead.
Now. This is a good deer.
Malcolm looks out the driver's side door and looks at me and said, yep, shot him in the face. And I couldn't even, at this point, there was no holding it together. There was nothing else. And I'm texting Jamie, I think Malcolm just shot a deer in the face. So I walk out and look at the deer, and sure enough, I mean, you couldn't have illustrated this any better. I said, Malcolm, go ahead and grab him. Malcolm reaches down, grabs him, picks him up in the eyeball, touches Malcolm on the hand. He goes, and then it's game on at this point.
That's good.
I mean,
It popped. You'd have thought you'd stuck a daggum air hose in him.
blew him up like a balloon.
Blowed him up.
He looked really surprised.
Popped both his eyes just right out of his socket.
I was trying to picture that thing was pop-eyed, man. Both of them were out.
Yeah.
So he picks the deer up.
It was a good buck. I mean,
It was whatever size you wanted it.
Depends on what you had to spread set out.
Because when he picked this deer up, for you that are listening, the horns just flopped out. I mean, he was a 27-inch wide deer at that point.
He's on Texas.
Yeah.
Texas 10 points.
So as soon as he done that, we called him the crescent wrench buck because he's adjustable. You can suck him on in to 9 inches wide. You can let him lay out to 30.
however you want him, it was split.
And man, when them horns went to flopping around, Malcolm kept on
Oh, man.
just gagging, and I could. Oh man,
Nothing else was hurting him.
no, it's
You didn't mess up
perfect.
no meat.
Yeah,
Shoulders
that's
were
what- that
good.
neat. Hunter fixed that buck.
No, it
That's
was a
that's
good mount. Good mount.
Yeah, it worked.
But it was.
That's the biggest buck I've ever killed.
That's one of them stories that
He's on the wall in their office.
that is worth it. Like,
Yeah,
it took us 30 minutes to
That
get
was-
this deer loaded just because we were laughing. And I know exactly what he done, and I've seen bucks do it. You know, the deer's running at you. You got to make a good shot. You put it on the white in his chest because you know that's going to hit all his vitals. I mean, that's a solid shot.
Yeah.
It ain't the best shot to take, but that is a solid shot.
Yeah.
And all he does is he runs his nose out on that doe, and y'all just timed it just right.
I don't know how it couldn't have happened any better. He was maybe 75, 80 yards and dropped him. I mean, you talk about one to a bulldoze. He just right in the ground.
Stuck your chest out. And I meant to do that.
Yeah. I was trying
I was trying not to tear up no meat.
Yeah, that's right.
But you know, I mean, other than his eyes blowed out, he wasn't in that bad a shape.
No, it really wouldn't.
Like it wasn't.
Didn't blow the back of his skull out. It didn't. I don't know where the bullet ended up.
It went down his neck.
But it didn't mess up. It didn't mess up
nothing.
anything. Yeah, didn't mess up anything.
And I mean, that's one of them things, you know, if it was one of them things where you want him a little bit wider, you just pull him on out, you know?
Is that what you told Hunter when he mounted him?
He's
Put him
definitely
in about
20 inches
20.
Yeah,
wide.
he's 20 inches
Yeah, put him
wide.
20
That was
inches.
20. Yeah, just put him at 20. Just get the tape measure out and glue him.
Glue him up.
Up. You can't tell from the mount.
No, he looks good.
He even put his own eyes back in place. I don't know how he did that.
He didn't have to remove no eyes. They was out.
That was easy. Yeah. Man, I don't know what that would have looked like when he caped him out and got all the meat off of him. I bet you that skull was just smothered.
Wasn't nothing left.
No, it took that was a 300 Win Mac load. Straight to the head. I mean, I fully expected it to not have a back of it, just the whole back of it to be gone. I don't know how it could have broken any better.
It was entertaining. We got a couple stories, that's for sure. Ain't no doubt.
That's what deer camp's about, man.
Good ones.
We're going to make some more this year. We got opening weekend coming up in 2 weeks. So we'll probably have one more podcast getting ready, leading up to opening weekend. And then it's going to be game on, fellas.
That's right.
Cook some jambalaya, get some cold weather.
I think we got us some more land that we're going to try to get to working on. So
Fingers crossed.
fingers crossed, everything goes right.
No, it's going to be a good year.
Season, yeah.
I think we're actually going to have a cold winter this year. I mean, it's cooler now than it has been in a long time.
Might push some ducks down too. We might get to talk about
Fingers
that, too.
crossed. But I'm ready. Got all the guns sighted in. Well, no, you still need to shoot.
Yeah, well, one of mine's good. I got a few of them. I want to just need to shoot to get ready. That's we didn't talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. The importance of, don't just be in the first time you go out there when it's opening season and to shoot. You need to get those guns and
Get comfortable.
at least. I mean, I don't care how good a shot you are. Shoot that gun before you get in stand with it.
Right.
So
You need to
I
respect
took.
the animals,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, me and Mikey took them. We went down and shot and took the boys shooting. Well, I took Michael, But when was that? That's been a
3 or 4
month
weeks
ago. Well, probably 6 weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I shot all my guns just to make sure they were still on, but I want to fine tune them. But because you never know, man. I might have to let a kid or somebody else come down there as a guest, and we might need to put a gun on them. You want to make sure they're good. But even if I was gonna let somebody hunt with mine, I want them to shoot it and make sure they're comfortable with it, know how it operates and all that.
Yeah, because something always happens with a kid. We were talking about youth season earlier. Your kids, they get to toting their rifle and stuff. They bump them on the side of the truck.
Invest in good scope mounts.
Yeah.
That's right.
For sure.
You always need to have a backup in case something happens or you compromise that rifle. You need to have something ready to go.
You shot yours this year, Jamie?
I have not.
You need to get it out.
Jamie's gonna wait till
We got
the
another
day
good story. We got
before.
another good story about me having to borrow Jamie's.
That was the first.
That was the first year we had that land, I think.
Of a 308.
That's for next week. That was that dude took 300 rounds and
That was bad.
and the short mag rifle.
If y'all can't tell, this is not the. We ain't Real Tree. We ain't the High Dollar Podcast. We tell you real stories.
This is a real story. This is how it really goes at hunting camp.
We ain't gonna sugarcoat it.
I thought we said to cut that was next.
I ended up doing it. That was
That's
rough.
a story for another day. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us here at Buck Junkies. And anything else, guys, y'all want to say before we get out of here?
I'm just ready.
We're wrapping it up. We'll be back one more week before rifle season opens in Mississippi. We'll see y'all next time. Thanks for hanging out and listening.
Thank y'all.
We're the Buck Junkies.